You're listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers.
Presented by CMH Heli Skiing and Peak Performance.
This episode of the LPP is brought to you by CMH Heli Skiing, Peak Performance Outerwear, Fat Tire Amber Ale, RMU Skis and Mountain Culture Shops, and the official destination partner of the LPP, Kicking Horse Mountain Resort in beautiful Golden, British Columbia. Enjoy the episode.
Let's do it.
We did it. We finally did it.
Yeah.
It's been like, was it 5 years?
And in Golden, too.
And in Golden, BC, yeah.
Crazy.
All right, so those of you listening, we got JF Houle on the show. We've been talking about doing a podcast together for about 5 years or so. Every time I'd make it to Montreal for IF3, you would like make an appearance and then phantom or disappear. Be like, oh yeah, it'd be cool. That's a good idea. I'm in. And you'd be like, oh, I got to go back to the trampoline gym, or I got to coach tomorrow, or I got to work, or I got to like, or I just wake up and you're gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's busy life nowadays, and I mean, IF3 is always busy time too, a bunch of hangover too, so it's been difficult, but
we made it happen. I just thought it was super funny. Like last year, we were actually staying in the same apartment, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, this is gonna be great." You and Lori were there. I'm like, "Okay, I got him here. I don't have to chase him down."
I thought it was gonna happen, but
yeah, it is what it is. I thought it was actually kind of funny because I'm really digging that like text, the text line I was showing you before. It's like there's the date 2017, 2018, 2020.
It's been a long time, but we're here.
I thought maybe you were ducking me. Maybe you're afraid to talk to a guy who does like mainly freeride, big mountain skiing. I wouldn't have anything to talk to you about.
I'm always stoked to.
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
You know.
So why don't we start from the start? So you are, I'm going to say it. I'm going to use the word legend, a Quebec street urban skiing legend, which is a big scene out there in Quebec, right? That's how IF3 kind of got started. You know, guys like Phil Casabon, like yourself, et cetera. New Schoolers is based right out of Montreal too, which I don't know if it was chicken or the egg. Was it New Schoolers started in Montreal and then the scene there got bigger, or was the scene there big and then New Schoolers was like, oh, maybe it's just a good spot to go?
Well, I feel like with the history we have in Quebec and like GP and like everyone, like all the legend that kind of paved the way, you know, like we always kind of follow them and follow their path in a way. And I think that's why we have so many strong like street skier and like even like all around skier from Quebec. Like you think KBM and Alex Belmar, and there's a bunch, you know, and I think there's always been like a little something special in this community, and we can always pass it year after year, and that's why it's still there, you know. And there's always like so many talented skier that will come from Quebec, and it's really impressive. So I was stoked to be part of them.
And you guys have like you've got like that super inclusive community, right? Like some hot shit kid comes up who's doing rad stuff. You're not going to be like, oh, who's this kid? Whatever, let him do his thing. You're going to be like, hey, come and hang out with us.
No,
right? Definitely. Mentor him, show him some sweet rail spots and like the secret zones and all that kind of stuff.
No doubt. Like if I want to help the new generation for sure. If I can help them like find spot and like even film too, I will be hyped. It's hard to find the time, but like I was saying, Xavier is doing a good job with Phil and Boily and Matt Duff right now. Like I think they're pushing.
Mayran.
Yeah, Xavier Mayran.
Yeah.
And he's pushing these boys to push their limit in the urban and stuff like that. And those
Matt
guys,
Duff, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really.
Yeah,
really
I just heard his name recently, I think, and that kid's like.
His style and like the tricks he will choose and like his whole like ability to, I don't know, he thinks outside of the box, and he always does the gnarly tricks, like, and he's got like such a dope style. And I'm really stoked he kind of quit the competition path to really like focus on that, and like he's showing like what he can do really right now, so it's dope.
Okay, so for those of you that may not know who you are, maybe they're not up on the like urban Quebec street scene or even urban scene. A lot of people listening to this will know who you are. We're going to put this on new schoolers. They're going to love that. But walk us through kind of your career. Like, how did you get started? Like, where are you from? Like, why don't we start with that? Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Drummondville. It's in between Montreal and Quebec City. Mm-hmm. And I guess it all started for me, like both of my brother were doing like all kinds of like action sport, like skateboarding and all that kind of stuff. And at some point, I think my brother was 12 years old. He was skiing, because I started skiing. I was like 5 years old, but being from Drummondville, I will go like only the weekend in Stoneham and like drive the whole time.
Stoneham, is that in the
Quebec.
States? It is in Quebec.
It's in Quebec City, yeah. So it's like an hour and 45 minutes from where I used to live. Mm-hmm. And then my brother was like a skier. Like we were all skiing, and at some point skiing was not that like cool anymore. Like when snowboard came in the scene, and he did the switch, and I almost did this switch. Like he was better than me at skiing. And but it was a good thing, because I got all my influence from like the whole like urban scene, like what like I wanted to film and all that. Like my brother, I was just watching snowboard movie, and I wanted to like do that at some point, like because at the beginning it was like skier doesn't do much urban, like it was all snowboarder, right?
Snowboard is 100% influenced like the best part of skiing, like back in the day, like half pipe. Urban riding, that kind of stuff is like full on snowboard influence. Yeah,
for me that was a huge part, and I really like
skate films too. Do you ever like
skate films like a lot when I was younger, and as I grew up, and then the ski movie came in, and I was watching more like ski movie and snowboard movie. That's what got me really like pumped on creating a segment. Like this is what I wanted to do. Like I didn't want it to do any competition at first, like at all. And but it's just the way kind of the industry goes. If you kind of want to make money and you want to make a name for yourself, you kind of have to go the competition way.
And that was back then. That was like mid 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Not to age you at all, but
yeah, no. Yeah, it's crazy now. I'm 36. I'm gonna turn 37 in February 19 tomorrow. Actually.
Oh no shit,
dude.
Is your
almost
birthday?
Forgot it was my birthday tomorrow. Things are going so fast. That's crazy.
Happy birthday, man! You'll be back home. Let's spend the birthday on the airplane. That's great.
Great. Love it.
So you didn't want to go through the competition route. You did a little bit though, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I compete for a while. Like that was a big part of my career. I guess the first. It all started like competition wise. I was doing the bigger contest in Quebec in the Rail Jam. There was so many, and you could win like $3,000 like winning a contest, like a bigger contest, just a regional. Like it was
like a tiny little like local isolated contest.
Exactly.
And you were was it amazing how much money was given out back like 10, 15 years ago?
It was so amazing, and like gives you so much motivation. Like I will drive all over Quebec to do all those little contests, because you could make money, and it was so fun. Like the first goal was just to go ski and have fun, and like we were this group of friends basically that know each other and travel to those little comp. And at some point it got more serious. Like I got some recognition from Orage and Rossignol, and then I got on the like Rossignol team. I went to Europe a lot at the beginning of my ski career, and like started to do contests as well. My first legit contest was probably like, I guess the US Open, in 2000, probably like 6 or something. Like
who won that one?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember?
I know I won in 2008. I won, and Phil was on the podium, Casabon, with me. And I mean, this whole competition thing kind of really helped me out to make a name for myself and get like recognition from like the sponsor and even the industry. But like everyone kind of knew I was like the first. Actually, let me go back, because the first legit contest I did was XGames.
Oh, and
it was because I got a wild card from my my part with Playoffs Film in White Shine the year before, because I remember Mike Douglas, I think, or yeah, I'm pretty sure he was on the committee who was selecting the athletes. And back then they have a lot of latitude, like they didn't have the FIS ranking or anything, so it was really like up to them who's gonna compete to X Game. Like if they think this skier has a really sick park, like he's a good skier, like we're gonna bring him to the X Game scene. And that's kind of how it turned out for me, you know. Like I started doing those contests and getting invited because of this wild card. And then it just kind of keeps going. Like I start traveling and doing contests for probably like 7 years, and then until the Quebec Canadian team came up, and I was 3 years on the Canadian team, so I for sure did like a good 10 years of like slopestyle contests. And that like definitely pushed me to be a better skier. But I kind of hate the whole process of like the contest, and like I struggle a lot mentally. And if I was performing in a contest, like I won the US Open, X Games, DuFour and all that, but it was so weird for me. I was struggling to just like do good at every contest. It was just like this one contest, like probably my training were going really bad, and then I will came up with a run because I didn't give a shit at all, and I was just in a zone and it's always where it works out for me. It was so weird, but all I wanted to do is just go film like the craziest part, you know, like kind of I wanted to be as much like all around as possible, but it was really hard, like kind of coming from Quebec and trying to push in every aspect of the sport. So I kind of never pushed the backcountry at all.
It was kind of like Wild West back then, right? Like you were saying, you can go drive around like this small little rail circuit in Quebec and make like rent for the year, you know, if you did well. And then you've got these big events that are still figuring out how like the system works, right? Like, do you miss the days that there used to be a US Open, or there wasn't FIS and it was a little bit more open, or you could invite someone like yourself or some kid like Matt Duff potentially, you know what I mean? Who, oh, you had a good part, you've got this, let's get this kid in X Games. But now you have to have a full resume, and you've got to have sponsor money behind you and all this kind of stuff. Like, do you think it would have been easier for you in this era than you had it back then? Like, would you find it easier in this more structured spot where you don't have to think about what you need to do? Because back then you had to hustle to get all those places yourself. Yeah. Right. Whereas now you fall into the system and it puts you, and I guess you're going to get to different levels within the system. And then when you hit a certain level, you're like, all right, X Games invite, right? It's almost like a more specific path now. Whereas before you had to hustle. Do you think you would have done better now than then?
No, I don't think I will have done better now, because then it was definitely, like you said, like it was just more loose, like the Wild West. Like, it was a good expression, but it's just like things with the coaching and everything. And I was a coach for 4 years, you know, and I was kind of hating on that at the beginning. I was like, we don't need a coach. It's kind of why we like the people before us create this sport, to get out from this like structure and like follow like the specific plan like that the coach is telling you or whatever, you know. So it was a lot better back then as far as the mentality and like the spirit of the sport. But I think the spirit is still there, you know. And I mean, the sport is just been progressing a lot, and I feel like now you have no choice to go the coach, like to have a coach, you know, if you want to go the competition way, but then you need a coach, you need this kind of crazy training, and like it's really acrobatic. Like, as back then it was more about the style and being creative with Charles Gagné, and like it was just bringing, like, I think it was 2008 or 7, like at the US Open, it was like first person to do a natural spin, like, or right side, left side in a run. And that was really cool back then, that you like, it just opened an old new door. Oh, I can do rodeo, but then the other way, you know. It's like, wow, like that was so amazing. And I think I don't have anything, like, still there's some people like Henrik or like there's anyway Colby, like Alex, all right now they're keeping this sport, this spirit, like they're creative, like they have sick tricks, but it's so nuts, like where what you need to do now in a contest compared to back then.
What, didn't someone throw a 2160 or something the other day?
Yeah, I mean it's
like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I saw Colby West put an Instagram post. He's like, "Why don't I judge? Why don't I comment on XGames anymore?" And it was a dude spinning. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can't count
like it's crazy.
You need
like,
a calculator.
Like at some point, like even myself, like you need to replay that stuff. You're like, what was that, like 18 or something? Like it's crazy. It's so wild. I never, like, I guess, yeah, I never thought it will go so far, like the 21, you know, it's so nuts, and it's grab all the way and it's style, like it's crazy, you know, so much respect to them.
But I find it, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but like for myself, like big air contests, they're a spectacle, but I'm not that interested in them anymore. Because you lost that bit of style. Like the knuckle huck, when they started doing knuckle huck, I was like, yes, this is awesome, because you can put that little bit of style in. Like,
exactly.
I don't remember who it was, but we talked about this a couple of years ago. And like, what would you think about doing competitions that had like a spin limit, right? And then you just judged on like style and like, you know, approach or whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that will be really awesome, seriously. Like, it will be so dope to have comps that have spin limit, I think, because, I don't know, it would just, I think they should have that. They kind of still have event where, you know, like, it's not so much about, like, what event? I'm like, the BNE used to be an event like that, you know, where you push tile, you have, like, you don't have a big air to do a 1921, you know. I think we need more event like that, and I feel like as we go, like we are losing those events. Like
it's almost like the skiers have to take the event, make them themselves, and like take the sport back.
Yeah.
Because it's got to a point now where, you know, FIS came in, everybody's got coaches, everybody's got the highest like nutrition and training and like spin. It's gotten to a point where the reason skiing got so popular is because you could watch the US Open or watch any of these little smaller comps or attend any of these smaller comps and legitimately think, if you had this, you know, decent skills, be like, oh, I could maybe go do that. And you're going to go up to the park and you're going to do it. Right. But now you watch, you know, half pipe competitions or big air competitions and you're like, they're cool. That's neat. They're fucking gymnasts. They're acrobats.
Yeah. No.
Right. And there's a huge disconnect as being like, oh, maybe I could do that. Right. We were talking to Burke Irving, who was on the show not long ago. I was like, are you concerned about like future of half pipe? Right? There's a lot of places aren't even building half pipes anymore. And in order to medal or compete properly, like you gotta be a fucking ninja.
Yeah. No, I mean, it got to a point where, you know, like you have to put so much work into like a slopestyle or bigger or half pipe ski career, and also like the training playground, like they're not there like for the pipe. Like we have a pipe in Stoneham. It's like we have no one from Quebec like doing pipe, or like in Canada we got the rider from maybe the West Coast a bit more, but
because we used to have the pipe in Blackcomb, but they don't groom it anymore. They'll stop grooming it.
Yeah,
so pretty much all there is like COP.
Yeah.
Right. So with like limited pipes, limited access, like, you know, a lot of the conversation in skiing right now is like for, you know, BIPOC people, you know, people that are minorities that haven't really had an opportunity to get into skiing or free skiing. It was a accessibility issue, which people are changing. And I kind of see that the accessibility is shrinking. It's growing in like freeride and like backcountry, but it's shrinking in those kind of like Olympic sports, half pipe, slope, big air, because it's just becoming almost ridiculous.
Yeah. Everything is so niche. Like it's hard. Like I feel bad. Like I was coaching the kids like on the Quebec team, right? And kind of felt bad for those kids, you know, that are trying to make it up there. It's so hard. Like you need so much support, so much money, and you need to travel like to get the right like training playground, right? So, and it's getting really like technical, and it's definitely not more like accessible. It's definitely closing, and it's more like you need to have money. Like even like skiing is a rich sport, so sometimes like it was the deal breaker for like I have a rider like Thomas Galarno who's from Quebec who's so damn good. Like he's so damn good, but at some point he couldn't keep going in the contest way because it was so expensive, and his parents, and like it's you have to make a decision, and it's like, are you gonna spend that much money to do all this training, and then we're kind of losing the spirit of like creativity and all that, I think, with this path. But I mean, some riders are still pushing that, and hopefully, and it's a good thing for the industry and for skiing as well. Like we need like different event that push style a little bit more, definitely. And
yeah, it's almost like I think in the next 3 or 4 years that skiers are going to start taking their sport back. Right, they had it. That was the whole reason Fisk came in. The whole, you went through. I'm sure you went through that and had your own opinions of it. Yeah, you were right in the middle of it when Fisk came in. And it went the way probably how you guys expected it to, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, definitely. Like, there was some good side, but still, like, all the drug testing and all that, like, you feel like you're, like, it's
restricted,
not,
right?
Yeah, restricted. Yeah, it's the right word. So that, it's not, like, as free anymore, So that's not, like, a good thing, but at the same time, the sport is progressing, and like all these things are bringing more money, and like
is it though? Like 'cause back in the day the purses were huge. Like in your day, you're a pro skier, there's $100,000 contracts aren't really all that rare. Now it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I guess it's bringing money, but in a different way, like it's getting like coach are getting paid, and like it's all like
it's being spread out a little bit more.
Different, but you're right though. It's like it's sad to see all the prize money. They used to be huge. Like even I feel like I don't know, like XGame and all that, and like a contest. Like for me, that was really sad to see the XGame reel go. Like for me, it was a dream coming true to be able to have a contest like that and like be able to.
Did they not do it this year?
No, it's gone. Like since COVID, it's they're not doing it.
Really?
So no more XGame reel. And like I remember like Jacob Bélanger, he went out west because I mean I think that was his plan, but he really was working hard, like building like urban segment to get there, and like he really
like that.
Yeah, that was like a dream for him, and like like it's not accessible anymore. And I think that's a door that's been closed, which is really sad for this all like creative urban, like this is what I was shining for, like the urban side and all that, and it's sad to see it go, but
so when I kind of got sidetracked from my own point earlier, but like
I know, right?
Yeah, this is how it goes, man. This is the Low Pressure Podcast. That's how it is. We'll start talking about something, then 45 minutes later we'll come back to it. But like I think the way things are going to be going in the next 3 or 4 years is the skiers are going to take the sport back and start creating these more niche or independent events. I went to the Daniel Hanke Invitational in the Czech Republic. I just happened to be nearby, and I ran into Noah Wallace after the FWT event. He's like, "You want to go to the Czech Republic tomorrow and go see Daniel's thing?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And it was awesome. Cool little feature down at the bottom. They had a giant jump with a box and a bunch of rails, and like dudes just having fun, jamming, like Kimbo sessions as well.
Yeah.
The
Jib League right now, like have you seen that?
No.
No.
Jib League?
Yeah, it's called the Jib League, and it's Woodsy, Ferdy, and Austin Bratton. Mm-hmm. And they just did an event, like it was just like all the riders basically, like all the core rider, they got to a place to just session and do the sickest like park trick. There was like a down rail and just like a normal jump, but like the style and like the tricks that they were showing, like it was so sick. So yeah, event like that.
Yeah, and I think I'd like to see more of them kind of back to those days. Like you said, you would rip around Quebec and go to like events here, but I think more of those is what we're going to be seeing. Because you watch like those Kimbo sessions when he had the 2 or 3 in a row, and you're like watching them going, Jesus, man, like that's how people are really pushing my interest.
Yeah.
As someone who is like more of a free rider, like a big mountain skier, resort skier, who would look at urban stuff because I find it mind blowing and kind of crazy, a little stupid in my opinion, but that's my understanding of it, right?
I totally feel you.
Right? But watching these cool little events, I'm like, that looks fucking awesome. Yeah. And it's just like, that's what gets to me is the style. Like a lot of people that aren't into skiing that are watching these spin to win events, you know, they're like, oh wow, that's really cool. He did this 2160 or fucking, you know, 5040 or whatever, you know. Yeah. But it's like, but that's the news clip or like the highlight clip or whatever. Like, oh, he did this, and everyone's like, oh, cool, he did this. But that's just more of a feat. It's more of like a Guinness Book of Records kind of feat, right? Versus like somebody does like the styliest fucking trick with like this weird new flair that nobody's ever seen, right? There's still so many little tweaks and stuff that could make things look cool that don't necessarily have to be a Guinness World Record or like a world's first, you know? Yeah. And that's where my interest lies.
Definitely. My interest is there too, you know, and these events, I hope, like you're saying, that they're going to happen more and more in the future. And that's what we need for the sport, definitely. And I think there's some good like community and like some good skiers that are taking care of this part, and hopefully bring more event in the future like that. That's what we need.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you were, you know, riding on the competition circuit for a while, back to you.
Yeah.
And then you kind of slowed down for a little bit and just you focused more on filming and whatnot.
Yeah.
Both sides of the camera, which you're kind of leaning more into behind the camera now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, when I quit the competition, I did this old Hooligan project, and then did the Never Over project. I really wanted to like do something special. So I spent 2 years doing the Hooligan project. That was really, really
Who was in that again?
It was just kind of a ski story about my story, basically. And then I had like friends, like a friend part where Alexi were kind of doing urban with me a little bit, Paul. I think Casabon, like I had a clip of him, but yeah, it was just like this project mean the world to me. And I spent like 2 years filming for it. That was big. That was really big for me, and I was super stoked at IF3 to get all the recognition I got. And then I definitely, like, while I was doing those projects, I was getting more involved in the filming part, you know, like if I wanted to make things happen, like I bought a camera. I had my own camera, so I could just go with a friend. And
sometimes it's easier, right? When you're like, fuck, I just want to get this done. I know exactly how I want to do it. Like, I don't want to just do it myself.
Pay a filmer and all that. Like, sometimes it's an hassle, and like you don't really need it. Like, if you can figure it out, like, you know, we know what we like to watch, like the angle that looks good, right? So I love being involved in that part, you know. I always loved it, and like the editing and trying to create something different a little bit, and like not like just like a ski porn, but like share a little bit more of emotion, always being like
storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling. So that's kind of my drive for sure, like what's motivate me to like film. And like, even if I get filmed now, like I want like a little story behind. I want to get more than just skiing. So but where were we going with that?
Your shift to you know, doing some more filming.
Yeah, exactly. So then because I got injured while I was filming my last urban project with picture. It was called Particule, the little movie we did. I think we had a French filmer that came in Quebec. It was me, Emile, B. Paul was filming, and Jules Bonheur, a skier from France. And that was my last trip. This is where I got injured really bad. I dislocated my hip and fractured the other of my hip. Yeah. It's like I'd never expect to. Like,
how do you put your hip out of its socket? Oh my god!
Yeah, it was it was gnarly. Like,
how did that happen? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing a wall ride, 270 in on a wall ride, and I was trying to do like I'd never seen this trick before, and I was trying it. Like, I was trying to like a cork 270 in on a wall, and then cork 450 out. And I got like that one time I really like I was going like full commitment, but it was like I was too close from the wall, and like the impact I got on the wall surprised me, and I slid on the wall. So I completely lost control, and I didn't pop out of the wall. So usually we always do a safe zone, like where the landing is, and like, definitely you're not going like in the wall there. So we didn't shovel, and it was really, really hard still there. And so I flew back to the landing, maybe 6 meters, and then my leg went just up my head quick like that with my ski. The weight of my ski just slingshot my leg, just
past your head,
and then past
like,
my head, and then
like you watching
back.
like a comedy routine when someone will have like a fake leg.
Yeah,
and like
and I was not like stuck like that after, you know, like it came back, but I was definitely like stuck in a weird way, and I thought it was my back at first. I was flipping out.
Like was it out of the socket and had to get put back in, or did it just?
Yeah, it was out.
Oh, and, Jesus.
And
worst pain you've ever felt in your life?
The worst pain I ever felt. And I didn't know. Like, I didn't know it was my hip. I thought it was maybe my lower back because I couldn't fucking move. Like, it was so weird. Like, the feeling was so weird. And like, on the moment, you have adrenaline. So you're trying to move, but I couldn't at all. Like, I couldn't move. And then I was like, call the ambulance. I told Paul, like, straight away. And it's like, this thing happens. Like, these situations happen so quick, and like you're in the mood, you're getting like, I was getting angry, like I'll get this trick, and I've never thought about getting injured, like doing like this spot I thought was pretty safe, but yeah, you know, it's how it goes. And that really like was a hard one to accept. Like, I was 32 years old, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm sliding on a wall, like I probably can be home like watching Netflix or something like more chill. But I mean, it was my passion, like,
or ski in a resort with a chairlift.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Do something more fun maybe, because, you know, at some point urban is more about the achievement and like pushing your limit. But at some point at the end, I didn't find the fun. Like, I was like, skiing used to be fun, but then I always get angry and I snap things, and I just want to get this clip, and I was like getting lost a little bit there.
It's interesting you say it's about the achievement, because that actually just made me realize that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, watch urban skiing, like I don't get it. I think it's cool, but I'm like, I can't watch the slam clips without feeling like a wave of like through my body of like, I'm like cringing and watching, like, why are you gonna do this to yourself? But it's the achievement.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, it's that feeling that you get when you're like, I did it, is that strong that people are willing to like risk injuries like that, which are so common, right?
Yeah, and
like what kind of, like, we'll keep moving past that first, but I want to be like, how many injuries do you figure you've had? How many broken bones or dislocations have you had skiing urban for the last 20 years? Do they know you as a first name basis at the hospital there?
I visit a few different hospitals all over the city of Quebec, or like the province. But as far as injury goes in urban, I remember 2 serious injury. I feel like in my career, every 2 years I had an injury. It was not always my shoulder. Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, I got 3.
There's so many. There's you like forgot a few.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely forgot a few, but I remember, I can tell you about 3 serious one, which was I dislocated my hip like while I was doing a 270 in on a street, like a urban rambo, like in the air. Like, it was so weird. Like,
your shoulder, you did?
Yeah, my shoulder. Like, I was trying a 270 in and kind of lock it to switch. I was using my shoulder in the air for that, and it went out. But I had problem before because of the contest, but I was still like in between contests doing urban or whatever. So I think that was my first serious one. And then that was the second serious one, but my first serious one was I was filming for Level 1. Oh no, I was filming with Playhouse Film in Sherbrooke, and I fractured my hip and broke 3 bones on my head, and I had a concussion too. Like, it was really bad, and that was like October, we were using like the ice rink snow is so sketchy. Like why again? Like just trying to get early shots so I can stack a lot of shot in the season, you know.
Do you have to go to like several like rinks to like get the Zamboni snow?
No, you just have to find a good one where there's a big snowbank. It's not all the rinks that have them, but yeah, we were like we knew like the good snow rink to go to and all that. Like yeah, it was a lot of work, but anyway. And then the third big one was kind of the one that put the ends of kind of on my like street career in a way. Like I did never over after that because I just wanted to prove myself that I could still do that shit. And I was like telling myself I won't risk too many things, but I still did like pretty gnarly stuff in that Never Over movie. But
it was after the injury.
Yeah, that was after the injury.
Right.
So I just wanted to like prove myself that
you didn't want to end it on that.
Yeah,
note,
no, exactly.
Right? You didn't want to end it like,
exactly. That's it.
on a crippling. Yeah. And then when you go back into it, like knowing that you're still a little stiff, you're a little bit older, like, and you just went through like a year and a half probably of,
exactly.
Are you like the hesitation and the fear? Or are you like, oh Jesus?
It was a lot. Yeah, it was there way more than. That's the thing. You grow up and you get those injuries and they're stuck in your head. You know, like those moments you don't want to live them again. It's weird. Like I used to, like when I was younger and I didn't have as much injury, like I could push my limit way more, but now it's like, okay, maybe not this trick, like maybe not this spot. So yeah, it's
the older you get, man, it's a real thing. Yeah. This aging bullshit is not cool.
Yeah, no, it's not cool. And I was like, it's never gonna. I will always keep this mindset where I can like push myself and like. At some point it gets to you, you know. It's like you fight. I always fight. Like I was 32 and still doing urban. I was like, you know,
you're like a grandfather of urban.
Yeah, seriously. At this point, you know, like no one's doing urban at 32, and it's like I just wanted to push myself as far as I could, and I think I did, you know. And at some point, I was like, I don't need this anymore to like. I mean, I miss it still, seriously. Like, at some point, I'm watching sometime, like, the street stuff. Like, I always watch, like, the new street movie and all that. And I'm like, oh, man, there's not enough wall ride. Like, people are, like, I want to, like, still do some stuff and show people that, like, yeah, that's cool. Like, do that. Like, but, no, I just don't get to this point. Like, the time is lacking. But, fuck, yeah. I missed it.
So what do you do to satisfy that urge? Are you still doing a lot of filming? I know you filmed the Laurie's project.
Yeah. So I mean, filming. I think it's helping for that. Like it will, like you work together, right? To make something cool, and
it keeps that connection. Yeah, right. Definitely. It satisfies your need without having to like dislocate your leg.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Like I got this sick clip, and I still get like. Like I do follow cam. I love doing like sick follow cam where I get really close and I jump with the riders and all that. So that kind of balance the feeling I need for adrenaline and all that. Like, cause I'm still looking for this feeling at some point. Like, like I'm missing it, but you know, biking in the summer, like trying to, you know, be active and.
It's not quite the same though. Biking is something you do to like just fill some time and like get you a little bit closer, but it's never the same, right?
It's not. Definitely not.
So you're kind of moving full on into your film kind of career as a filmer, editor and director as well, or mostly just like filmer?
Yeah, I mean directing a little bit. You know, I can't. I wish I was more involved and I have more time to like really like make concept and do that. But I'm still. I feel like on the learning process. And I've been filming like legit for the past maybe 3 years. And I mean, I love it. It brings me definitely, like I was saying, you know, like you get a sick clip or you plan this shot and like, or just making a story and like bringing this to life and having like something to say in this story and like, and touch people. Like, I think that's really what kind of motivate me to go this way and like film. But I definitely I'm stoked to just kind of film action sport and like stuff like that. This is what I want to focus on and be good at.
Right. Now, so you're here in Golden right now, filming with Justine DuFour Lapointe, who just signed up for the tour. Yeah. I know she had some guys around her filming her for like peak performance in Europe. And then the other day when we were in like the welcome dinner, I looked over and I was like, what's this guy doing over here? So what are you doing? What are you doing with Justine right now?
Yeah. So with Justine right now, the whole like mission or kind of this story began this past summer in New Zealand. So Alex, who is the agent of Justine, who's my boss as well.
That's why you're here, he told me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, he keeps talking me, and he's like, I'll tell him. He's like, you're going there at 5 tomorrow, so we got to give him Alex a shout out. Thanks, buddy, we got him. Hey, there's friends out the window. Those are my friends from Revy and the judges. Anyways.
Golden Life.
Yeah, Golden Life. Anyways, so shout out to Alex. For getting you in this seat, because I couldn't do it for 5 years. he's like, you're gonna be there at 5.
No,
so
the timing was right today. So
it was meant for now.
Yeah, exactly. So
anyways, he could give you a shout.
Yeah. So Alex and I met up with Alex and Justine, and they like, it was like kind of secret at this point that Justine was gonna make the move to Freeride, and it was all like, like we can't tell anyone, and like so. At first, like I was still coaching, for this summer for the Quebec team, and then Alex, he offered me this job to create content for his agency for all his athletes, and even like create content for other athletes.
Awesome. So it wasn't just like a single project. It was more of like you're working for an agency, and then you actually get to go out on different jobs. So there's a lot more work. Yeah,
and just like film sport, and like for me, it was like no brainer. Like that was the opportunity I was waiting for. I went back to school and cinema and all that. Did this class, and then after that, I coached for 4 years because I didn't want it to go like straight back at the bottom, and like so.
Just trying to figure out where your lane is, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You don't want to start at the beginning, but you also want to do something that's new, but work with the skills that you have and the experience you have.
And like I wanted to like film skiing and all that, and like obviously like it's hard to only film skiing and snowboarding and make a living out of it. So when this opportunity came up with Alex, I quit my job. I was like head coach of the Quebec slopestyle team, and I did 4 years with them. I had like a good connection with the team, and it was like the biggest decision, like professional decision of my life. It was really hard to let this go. Like
it's a lot of discussions, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, like I thought of it for like maybe 3 weeks. Like it was really, really hard, but I'm glad I made this decision. It's just a cool opportunity to do what I want like in the future and all that. So I jumped on that opportunity, and like a week after that, like I was going to New Zealand with Justine because she wanted to get into the freeride world and she needed help. And
she kept it secret for a while. I met her in March last year at the Verbier Extreme, and they were like, well, she's thinking about maybe doing this. I'm like, really? Have you done much skiing before? She's like, not really. Yeah. So I'm like, you should probably go like somewhere in the spring or the fall, like where they're skiing. She's like, yeah, we're on it. And I'm like, cool, right on. So you went down with her to New Zealand and see how it was going.
I mean, it was like I was like blown away. I was like, wow, like you really want to do this switch? She was like, yeah, and like I was like, man, it's crazy transition to me. I was like, I never did it myself because I was kind of scared of this whole big mountain thing, like.
Which is funny because a lot of the big mountain people are scared of the whole urban thing, right? Like terrified of it.
I know, right? But I guess we all have our things, right? And then I was like, well, I'm not like a freeride coach, but I can definitely help you out get into this world and like go create content with you. But as well, I was like kind of a coach at the beginning there with her, but I keep telling Alex, I'm not like a freeride coach. So as far as like when we get like to a zone, like big line and all that, I was kind of, I didn't want to put myself out there and be like, yo, I'm like a freeride coach. Like I wasn't. And
I'm a slopestyle. You can coach her on her freestyle tricks.
Exactly, but that's what I did. I really helped her out with like the style, and I was like trying to break like the bad habit with the arms. And
It's exactly. You could be like the air style coach.
Exactly,
Because
that's
like
kind of what I am. Yeah.
Moguls is super rigid and it's calculated. Like
loose it up a little bit. Like that's
exactly. You're not doing this
like,
thing anymore.
Yeah.
You're not doing this spin.
Like she came like doing their first backflip, like super like with the technical like thing, and I was like, maybe like the arms just a little lower. Like we keep like making fun of this, but like she understands. She was listening. Like
she picks it up quick. Hey.
Yeah, she picks it up quick, and she's such a hard worker. Like so I got to know Justine in New Zealand, and it was like a crazy experience. Like we were such tourists when we got there. Like just like being on top of the face that she was gonna compete in, and like she never really rode a face before. Like it was nuts. Like she was coming from so far, and I was like, whoa, like I even like I remember after the four, like she did a 2-star and didn't went that well. Like the conditions were so icy, it was nuts. Like I couldn't believe like there was a free ride competition that were going down at that point this day, and she did it, and after she was doubting that move, like she wasn't sure, like, but then she did the 4-star and got like a good result with the backflip, and like she kind of realized that she could do it, and like she saw the level where the skier were, and like I know it was really intense. Like I spent 3 weeks with her, and it was such a learning process, and I was kind of scared for her at some point. I saw her like sliding the whole face on her back, and luckily like nothing, like she didn't slid like in any exposed like faces or anything, but it was close. Like it was sketchy, and I was like, whoa. Like I told her at some point, like maybe like take a full year, like to just learn this whole thing. Like don't jump into it so fast so you have a bad experience right away. But she was really like committed to it, and like went skiing all over the places, like spent 3 weeks in New Zealand, and like she did the transition.
And it's cool how the two of you, obviously they're filming her, but you're a coach. She spent her life on like the national level for an Olympic sport, and you guys are both like at the highest levels of your individual disciplines of skiing to combine to figure out something that neither of you have either done, which is pretty cool.
It was cool as well. Like it was such a cool experience, and I was stoked I get to experience that with Justine, and I was really out of my world as well. Like I was
learning, right? It's exciting.
Good street skier, like I can, and slopestyle, like this is my world. And then again, the big mountain in New Zealand, I was like, whoa, like.
But then you could, like you said before, you can take your slopestyle knowledge and be like, all right, you're going to hit that cliff. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do off of it? Yeah. And how are you going to make it look? Are you going to take a grab? Are you going to cork? Are you going to, So that's kind of cool is approaching something that neither of you are really that experienced in, but it's not too far off from what you know.
No, you're right.
So you can take those that specific knowledge that you each have and then develop it into something new, which sometimes I think is the best way to do things, right? If you like say play music with the same people all the time, you're gonna have the same sound. But if you say one day you jam with a dude that plays this kind of music and you jam with the girl who plays that kind of music, and all three of you get together, you're going to have a completely different perspective or different sound. And I think it's probably the same thing with how you view the mountain, how you view skiing and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you're saying, you're bringing a good point, because I think it brings something different to the table as far as like coaching and like the vision we had together, and like the vision I had with the free ride, like with a free ride line, and like what is cool and what is not cool, and like don't like, no, that's like, you can't do that, Justine. Like, so I think that was a big help for her at the beginning, for sure. And even for me, I was telling her, like, it's cool, like it's a learning process for both of us, and it's cool to do it together, like you're saying. So
how did you enjoy the comp the other day? Was this your first live free ride comp, like FWT comp?
I watched it was the first like real tour event that I've watched. It was so wild, but I've watched the 4-star and 2-star in New Zealand.
Yep.
The 4-star, I was just blown away. The conditions were bad, the one in New Zealand. But it was sick to watch that. I like got so much respect for all the riders there, and like it was cool to see Finn Bullis doing it. Like I know Finn, you know, and it was sick to
Finn's
see
killing it, man.
He's
I love
killing
watching
it,
that guy.
and I was glad he was doing it over there, and I can like link up. It was cool to link up with the world like a free ride, and like everyone kind of knew me, so is helping Justine and me to get into this. Well, oh yeah, I remember JF. So it's kind of nice to get into this world like that, and
to realize you're still relevant in the ski world.
yeah, I was like, oh, you know me, sick. It was kind of cool for sure. Like it's always nice. People remembers you, and like I remember Blake Marshall. He was like,
Like Marshall,
yeah, you're the legend, and I was like, oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Hey, thanks, bro.
I was stoked for sure. Not gonna lie, it's always nice, but yeah, such a crazy wall, such a different wall, and here, like I was blown away yesterday, like watching the comp. It was so insane, like. It's like the confidence that you need to have like in top of the free ride run, and like watching those guys, I don't know, so much respect. It was really sick. I kind of wish I knew this world earlier in my career. Like I think it will have been cool to kind of try it.
It's never too late to start, man. Look at Reyna, he's 40.
I know.
You got a few years still.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
But like watching Finn come into this world from the slope,
so
and then
nice.
the first few competitions that he did, first one he did was, okay, I got docked for like a revert because they thought maybe he wasn't in control, right? He landed switch, reverted, they docked him points for that. Asking questions, figuring it out, and then this last comp today, in the last two, he's been able to really integrate his personal slope style of skiing into the big mountain, and it's put him pretty high up on the podium each event. So I like the crossovers. You know, the Justine crossover has shown that it works. Yeah. The slopestyle crossover kind of shows that it works, and it's cool because I know they just got purchased by FIS, but Freeride is still kinda has that vibe that we were talking about before. Yeah. Where it's not too regimented. People aren't doing like this year, you know, double backflips aren't out of the question. You know, we had our first one last year. We've seen like half a dozen since. Yeah. Right. So it's progressing. With FIS coming in, I don't know how that's going to change things. If it's going to tighten things up again, like it did with, you know, half pipe with slope. But right now it kind of feels still like was in those days when you were coming up, you know, with the big air competitions and whatnot, where you can have all these people being like, hey, come and hang out. Like everything you just described, there's still that vibe. There's still that community atmosphere rather than, you know, I'm against you or you're against me or we're fighting for points or whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like it's what I love, like getting to know this world. It's like, wow, like it still exists, like this
the community.
This community and this with the spirit which is loose, and it's not like about like what's the next like big, like everyone is so friendly, and like I feel like it's even we're like that in slopestyle, right? Everyone is stoked on each other, but this like the UG at the bottom, because they all know they risk their life together doing this thing, and like we all in this shit together kind of, and it's this vibe is so dope. Like I love this sport for that, you know, and I hope that it's not ever gonna go away, and I think the freeride community is keeping it real for that, you know.
And it's cool watching you get so excited about it because you've put in a full career already, you know what I mean? But now you're still exploring different types of skiing or different parts of the sport that you love, and you're still fired up about it. Like, oh, this is cool. I've never done this before. Like, it's all new to you as well, and it's still exciting. It's still new. And you found a venue a way to do it where you can still be, you know, participate. You can still be a part of the culture, still be a part of what you love, but be able to make it a job that'll pay you. Yeah. Right? Like you can get paid, you can do good work, you can be creative, but you can also be a part of the culture that you love, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, I think. You know, I'm glad I have this opportunity right now, and it's still a lot of work, you know. It's a job. It's still a job, but like at some point I'm like, oh, I'm in Golden, I'm still in the ski community. Yeah. Like I'm gonna be turned 37 tomorrow.
You're on the Low Pressure podcast right now.
I know, right? I'm still in the business, but yeah, I think for me, you know, it's the passion I have for skiing. It's always gonna grow, and now it's like growing in all kinds of way, and a different passion is also growing with the filming and like trying to make documentaries and all that. So yeah, it's really exciting, and I think, yeah, like I said, the ultimate goal to just kind of keep living this life, and it's still a work, but it's still in the community and enjoying skiing and being part of it and trying to push it in the right direction with this community. So yeah, man,
that's great.
Thankful for it.
And then when you get a little bit farther down, you know, having the camera work as like a skill is always needed.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, there's a couple guys in, Guillaume Tessier.
Yeah.
You know, G.
Yeah. Legend.
He's been filming Canucks games.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like NHL games. Yeah. And then, Jeremy Allen, another filmer in Squamish, doing the same sort of thing. So they have been heading down to Vancouver and filming Canucks games. I'm like, that's a great side gig.
That's inspiring, man.
Right?
Like
maybe you can do some junior hockey or something.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Head over to the Bell Center.
Yeah, I've been like filming some ice speed skating, you know, like it's
for real?
Different. Yeah, but it was cool.
What else kind of sports
I wanted to get a pair of skate to go like follow cam on but I couldn't. I didn't get, but I'll do those shots at some point.
What other sports with the agency and like athletes?
I did a little bike video the other day this summer.
What kind of bike?
For Laurie Arsenault cross country bike.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's cool. Cool experience. You know, I get to film different stuff, and it was the first time filming it.
And learning about different sports and different cultures of those sports, like we were just saying.
Yeah, and we have like racer on the team, like a diver, like all kinds of sports. So it's gonna be interesting to go.
Dude, you gotta get up on the platform, and then toss the GoPro on the stick down at the same time, like a GoPro Max. Hawk it up and have the.
That'll be tight, right? I've seen those with the little floater.
Yeah, and just let them come down. Yeah. That's really cool because you get a chance to like. And then would you then edit the short little films? Would they be for just like promo stuff, or would they be for like YouTube or Instagram or something?
Mainly we're trying to do a little profile with all the athletes right now that are represented by the agency.
And unique, fun little profiles that are like well done rather than just, something generic. Yeah.
Just like have a little story and like tell about the athletes a little bit, share what she thinks, what she likes, and the passion she has, and like have the human side a little bit, get to know the athletes, so that's kind of where we're going with this. But I'm doing all kinds of video. Like I went to XGames with Laurie, and like I filmed a video for O'Neill. Like O'Neill was kind of helping her out, and she wanted a filmer, and like for her, it's really like
that's great too. She's like, hey, I need a filmer.
Yeah, I mean it works really well. Like with my girlfriend for sure, Laurie is competing at this level, and like I can follow her, so that's always like.
And that's nice too, because you actually get to hang out with her.
Yeah.
When she's on tour doing stuff, and without being like the boyfriend who's just tagging along, you actually have a purpose now, right?
Exactly. I'm not just like the boyfriend following. I'm like working there and like.
What is it? Instagram boyfriends of Instagram. Have you seen that? Have you seen that page?
Yeah, I feel like it. No, I haven't seen the page, but I feel like I know what you're saying.
Boyfriends of Instagram. You trying to do a little bit more, so you're not relegated into just that little box.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sweet, man. So what have you got? So are you going to be going to like any of the Europe events with Justine, or what have you got coming up in the next little bit that we can look forward to? So
for the kind of the business to work well, we figured that it was better to hire someone in Europe for Justine. I wish I was kind of going like living like this event here with her and like experiencing it. I'm like, I can't imagine how insane Verbier is.
It's stupid. It's crazy.
I've seen it on video, but
it's crazy.
I've seen this thing live yesterday, and it's all other things,
and this is like a fraction.
It's so
wild. It's maybe like a fifth of what you'll get in Verbier.
So crazy.
Yeah, this is small town, mountain town in the middle of BC, right? This is Verbier, like the home of freeride. It's wild. Like at the top under the Bector
Ross.
You've
been there, right?
I was there last. That's where I met Justine last year.
Yeah, right.
So up at the top, the Bector Ross is like tens of thousands of people. Like there's a VIP zone where they're tables with wine and cheese and raclette and beers and shit like that. There's like people bringing their dogs.
I was kind of going.
People bringing their dogs up on the gondola. There's like 15 people with their dogs just watching the people freeride on the Bec de Ross.
Legend.
And everybody's just having a good time and like making noise. And yeah, it's an event. Europe is such a different beast for skiing. I wish ski culture was bigger. Similar to that, representative of Canada still, but like I wish people gave a shit more here. Like I want to go to an event in Canada where there's like a ton of people.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy.
I went to the half pipe event in Calgary where I did the interview with Burke, and there was a lot of people there, but they were all there to see Eileen Gu. It was all Asian Canadians, all Asian heritage people. There's probably like 300 or 400 people there. And they were all there to see Eileen Gu, which was fucking really cool, right? Because it opens up those doors. Exactly. It opens the doors to those people, as I mentioned before. There's like those
and they're showing. So
there's those access blocks, right? Yeah. So there's this person showing them what they can do, and I'm like, oh, cool. I hope one of these people maybe gets some skis.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's cool to see culture and how people gather. But I always liked how skiing was kind of ours.
Yeah,
and a little more niche, but I always wish also on the flip side that more people could see how cool it really is.
Because over there, like it's crazy.
It's a way of
little
life.
Town, like they live out of skiing. You know, if skiing is not there, this town doesn't exist. Like in Europe, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what have you got? Are you gonna do any like other like ski projects or mini projects this winter?
Yeah. So I still got a lot of editing to do back home. So after this event, I'm going back home on the computer for a little bit, and then I'm gonna film some stuff for Ski Acro Québec, the ski federation in Quebec. It's like filming aerial, mogul, and slopestyle. And the goal is to do some video, but more about the behind the scene, like all the people that are I don't have the word bénévole, helping out, like
like sponsors and assistants.
The parents that come.
Parents, yeah.
So do a video on that side, like all the staff kind of, and like try to create.
There's a lot that goes on behind.
Yeah, exactly.
The scenes, right?
So they want to push that side and like show that like we need people like for that, and like if we don't have like the staff and like the people that are helping, like the parents and all that, like it's hard to make those content happen. But so yeah, that's gonna be cool. So it's something I know it's gonna be easy. Like it's not like the most exciting, but then I still get to probably gonna go to maybe, it's not sure yet, but maybe film some stuff with Laurie again in Whistler and like create some project with her.
In the spring?
Yeah, I still have like couple profile to do, like one with Mia Fontaine. He's an aerial skier. I filmed the World Cup before I came here. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's different project, and it's really it's all new for me, but it's really motivating, and it's a new start. But glad, man. Stoked.
Very cool. Well, if you're out in Whistler, hit me up.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you gonna have sleds out there?
I think if I go there, it's for the camp, the Canadian snowboard camp.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. They did that like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. It's pretty sick. So probably go there for a week and create some content, maybe for Laurie. That'll be fun.
And still skiing as much as you can when you're in those places.
Yeah. Still hit some jumps, do some straight air.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, dude, it was good to finally sit down and have this conversation.
Stoked.
We did it.
We finally did it.
And I'm stoked that you found this. I've really enjoyed this conversation because it's cool seeing you fired up about, being able to stick within skiing, but finding your route, but still being excited about all the new opportunities and stuff. It's really cool to hear.
Yeah, and it was cool to share it. Like, makes me realize, like, it's a sick job, and it's a cool opportunity, and I'm right where I want to be, So
that's awesome. Well, let's leave it right there. Thanks, man.
Thanks to you, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching this video on the LPP YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. And while you're here, you might as well watch this great LPP highlights video. Thanks.